Hello and welcome to a new podcast of Mind, Mood and Food. I'm Margaret Bell and I'm an anti-diet empowerment coach and gut health expert, and I'm joined as always by Adele Derbyshire.
Hello, and my name's Adele and I am a yoga teacher and creator of Find Your Inner Sparkle, 50 ways to help you to look and feel better from the inside out.
So today, as we're coming up to Easter, I think it's just round the corner-ish, I felt this was quite a good one. The great sugar debate. Is it so bad for us?
Yeah.
Big subject.
Definitely.
A lot to cover.
Absolutely.
So I know that obviously, crikey, sugar, it's something we all like. It's something we all enjoy. I've yet to come across someone that doesn't. And I guess the main reason why we all love sugar, there's a couple of reasons. I'd probably say this is the main reason. Years and years ago, when we were cave people, it was the main way to see that fruit and fruit, berries, any kind of food was ripe for eating. If it was sweet, then it was ripe. Sour, or that kind of icky taste that you get when it's gone a bit bad, then it either wasn't ready or it had gone off. So that is the one reason why we like sweet stuff so much. But also as well, when we're kids, when we're young, what's kind of the first thing that we kind of we're having when we're kids? It's normally the likes of our mother's milk, and that is really quite sweet. So that really does get the likes of the sweetness there that all of us really do enjoy. And I'm not against that kind of thing, but I think when it comes to sugar, how it is these days, that's a whole different kind of ball game. I don't know what you think, Adele.
Yeah, it's interesting thinking about it like that. I've never really sat down and thought, why do I like sweet things? But I've not got a massive sweet tooth, as in, some people have really say I've got a sweet tooth and you just really love chocolate and sweet things. I am more of a savoury actually, and I do like cheese, which we can talk about another time. Let's do one on cheese.
Oh, definitely.
But sugar, absolutely, anything that sweetens something. Why can't kale and broccoli be so like addictive versus why people like to eat a Krispy Kreme instead or something like that, or chocolate.
If only.
And there's things like chocolate that has another lot of science behind it as well. Can't remember where I heard this, but that actual combination and the ratio of the fat to sugar and the texture, when you like suck a piece of chocolate or Galaxy chocolate or something.
Absolutely.
And it's really kind of so we like textures as well, don't we? It's not just the actual sweetness.
When it comes to the chocolate, you're spot on. They actually do make it in a certain way, so the actual temperature is perfect to melt in the mouth, and it does coat your mouth completely. So that's a whole science in itself. Absolutely. But going back to the likes of sugar, why doesn't kale taste or is addictive as sugar?
Well, yeah, because like you said, the caveman days, if we're designed optimally to survive, it would be better if we were designed to really love vegetables, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
Nobody really loves vegetables. I don't mind them, but
maybe I'm the odd one. I do like kale crisps, but
never tried them.
But on that kind of respect, the likes of getting that sugar hit or that sugar craving, it's all a lot to do with, I guess, what I call a sugar roller coaster. And that really is when we're feeling a little bit exhausted, a little bit tired, our body's crying out for energy at that point. And the quickest way you can get that energy is the likes of simple sugars and simple carbs, which automatically turn to sugar anyway once they're in our system. And it's not to blame our system in any way, but if that's the things that we are used to, if that's the things that we're normally going for, then our body is going to adapt and really get used to the fact that, okay, sugar is the simplest form of energy and I need that energy quick. So
Yeah, you've
when you
just made me think of something. I'm just making a note to ask you in a minute.
so when you think about it like that, our body just really needs the energy. But if we're going for the simple sugars, that is really causing quite a few issues within our body coming up.
Yeah, so the sugar spikes is typical, isn't it? Where if you just eat something that's, you know, a fast carb or a simple sugar, that you get that
You get that
afternoon slump.
initial hit. You get that initial hit of
Yeah,
kind of like,
and then a
oh, I'm
crash.
awake, and then just bang, crash down again. And that's basically because the insulin in our body has to increase rapidly to such a point that it can deal with that sugar. And quite a lot of the time, our body releases too much insulin, which brings that crash. And it's unfortunate, but what's the one thing you're going to go for when you hit that crash? Let's think.
Another chocolate biscuit.
Yeah.
With your afternoon cup of tea, 3 sugars in it.
Which, you know, it's quite normal for people to do that. I don't want to have people thinking, oh God, what the hell am I doing? But just start to be aware of when you do have that feeling, tiredness, what else can you do apart from reaching for the automatic sugar?
Yeah, and this is where things kind of overlap a little bit that we talk about, because there are things like certain breathing techniques, which, you know, we'll obviously talk about another time, but certain breathing techniques that can energize, or certain essential oils, you know, like there's only certain brands of essential oils that you can take internally. You've got to be very, very careful that you choose a therapeutic pure grade oil. But something like a peppermint oil, you could have 1 drop of peppermint in some water, and that can give you that energy boost without going for caffeine or sugar or something like that. Because this is what, again, another, we try and keep it, because we can go off on a tangent, because caffeine is another subject, but it's a similar thing. So what I was going to ask, just links into this, what you might reach for if you're feeling tired. I know a lot of people, I don't drink these myself, but like fizzy drinks. So if you've had, you know, a can of Coke with your lunch, then you're going to get afternoon slump, then you're going to get another can of Coke. One of the things I wanted to just ask you about is, I know that fizzy drinks are just really bad. They're really bad. They're just empty calories. They're just not giving you anything nutritious. People like the taste of them. Obviously, they give them that flavor and that sweetness hit.
Yeah.
But if you're to switch to like diet drinks, because I don't know if we've talked about this before on this podcast or just when we've been chatting, but where if you, instead of having like a margarine, where we used to think swapping to margarine was better for us than eating butter, but I now just eat butter. I'd rather do that than eat like the thing that's quite close to plastic. It's that fake. I don't know if we have talked about that, so we might need to do that another day, but it's a similar thing, I think, with diet drinks versus full fat Coke. So if I was going to have a fizzy drink, I'd probably have the diet version, because I don't want the massive loads of sugar in it. But it wouldn't be very often, very, very infrequent. But if somebody has gone, right, do you know what, I used to have 10 cans of Coke a week, and it's okay because I've swapped it for sugar-free Coke Zero.
Honestly, probably not the best option still, because you've got to think of the artificial sweeteners in there, which, to be quite honest with you, are probably, if not worse for the likes of gut health.
Mm,
Basically because the clues in the title, artificial.
mm,
Bringing anything artificial into your system is just not going to do any good for your gut health at all. And plus, it's actually been proven on different scientific kind of papers that gets you that craving for sweetness. So it's not getting rid of that craving for something sweet. 9 times out of 10, you will still have something sweet there. So it's not getting rid of that sweetness for you.
mm,
If anything, it's exacerbating it.
mm. And again, there are things, because people might be thinking, "Oh God, well, what do you want me to do then?" Like I've swapped my full fat
Done this,
Coke
I've done
Zero,
that.
and it's like ridiculous. But being somebody that uses essential oils all the time and advocates essential oils, it can be, if you choose the right ones, a really good alternative. So something like a fennel oil
Yeah.
can stop the sweetness cravings.
Mhm.
So you can either breathe that into your hands, or you can take that in water. You could take a drop of lemon, because if you use a piece of lemon in your water,
Yeah,
then if
that's a
you're
little bit,
doing
but yeah.
if you're doing that a few times a day to flavor your water, or you're putting it into a bottle, it can destroy the
Mm.
enamel on your teeth because of the acid. But the lemon oil, it's taken from the rind of the lemon, not the fruit itself, so it is not acidic. So it's alkaline, so that you can drink that all day long. It's not going to damage your teeth. So there are things like that. You can also get
I know a few that you can
different
definitely do.
flavorings, can't you, for
Yeah,
water? You get tea
yeah,
bags now that are for cold water, just like an
you can
infusion.
do. You can do. I mean, I do a few different tricks. The likes of cinnamon
Yeah,
is a warm and spice, but it's also quite a sweet spice as well.
yeah.
So start adding that to different things, and vanilla as well. If you get the pure I can never get this right. Vanilla essence, is that the right one? Or is
Or
it
vanilla
extract?
extract.
Extract. I always get that the wrong way.
I think so.
It's the extract, definitely. Um, I add that to. I don't drink coffee. It's a kind of fake coffee chicory thing. Um, but I add just like a teaspoon of that,
Mm.
and that just gives
Yeah, that's a
a
really good
whole.
tip, actually,
Mhm.
because when I used to be in my corporate job, going back to that afternoon slump,
Mm.
the coffee queue at 3 o'clock in the afternoon was massive for a reason, right? Because
Yeah,
everyone's had the sandwiches or whatever at lunch, and
yeah.
then um we can talk about that's another thing I wanted to ask about, hidden sugars in foods that you might not expect.
Mm.
So if you're
Yeah.
thinking, well, I don't have sugar because I don't eat cakes and biscuits, is
Wow.
there sugar in bread or anything like that that you might not
Yeah.
necessarily associate it with? But yeah, you get that slump, and then there'd be a massive coffee queue.
Mm.
And I went through a phase of, people that were on diets, Slimming World, and all these different things, and Weight Watchers who would give you these tips, and they did sugar-free syrups for the coffee. So the syrups in the coffee, they're
Yeah.
terrible because they're full of
Yeah.
sugar.
Hmm.
And you could choose like between, vanilla and
Yeah.
cinnamon and all these different ones that were sugar-free. And I went through a phase of thinking that's fine because no calories. That's
Mm.
all you tend to care about, isn't
You
it?
do.
You're
Yeah.
like, oh, no calories. It's free. That's what you kind of think. Oh, it's free. Give
Yeah.
me 10 shots of vanilla, please. And then again, it struck me. I realized that, what am I doing? Because it's like eating cling film or something. It's plastic. It's
Yeah.
not good. It's just,
Mm.
like you say, it's artificial. Why am I putting that in my body? So I'd not heard that before, but to use something like vanilla extract
Mhm.
would probably give you more of a sweet hit, because
It does
it would be
definitely.
so strong.
Mhm.
It's like using a drop of cinnamon
Mhm.
or cassia oil. One drop is just too strong to me. You need
Mhm.
to use like a toothpick and just put it in like that and stir it in, because it's very powerful. So you don't need very much of these things. Whereas the syrup, you'd put like a big
Yeah, I've
spoonful in.
seen it. I've seen it so many times. And apologies if you go to these places, but the likes of
So
Starbucks,
many,
the
yeah,
likes of
so many
all of them,
people, yeah.
just like, wow.
Those drinks are quite frightening, you know, when
Mhm.
people don't realize as well because it's liquid, you know,
Yeah.
so you think, oh, liquid, but on the run up to Christmas and they put out all these
Christmas
Christmas
specials.
themed
Yeah. Mhm.
or pumpkin spiced, it's all that kind
Yeah.
of thing, isn't it? The
Mhm.
lattes. So if you look at the calories and the nutritional information in those drinks, which I think they do have to display now, I'm not sure, but if
Mhm.
you look at those for a full fat latte, which is what a lot of people tend to drink,
Mhm.
with your syrups in,
Wow.
it's frightening, isn't it? And you go, well, would you go and eat 5 donuts? You'd be like, oh no, you know, but
Oh,
I'm gonna have
well,
my
there you go.
iced latte with whipped cream on top.
Yeah.
Because it's Christmas, baby.
Oh God, yeah,
Right
absolutely.
from October all the way up to December. I mean, so these simple swaps, I think, is brilliant. I think if people go, oh, do you know what? Whenever I go into a coffee shop like that now, and I do love my coffee. I always ask for. I don't like latte; it's just too milky. But I will ask for an Americano, but made with half milk, so it's like a
Mhm.
half latte, half
Yeah.
milk, half water. But I always ask for skinny milk.
Mhm.
You can't taste the difference.
No, not at
It's
all.
still really milky, but you've got,
Yeah.
you know, either using skinny milk or an oat milk or an alternative or something like that.
Yeah.
And instead of having those sugary syrups and creams and all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff, just have that with you, that
Mhm.
little vanilla or essential oil, and just put a little drop of that in, and you won't notice the difference, and you'll be creating so much better habits for your health.
Absolutely. And you're not getting that inflammation as well, which is
Mm,
what sugar and is what sugar really causes in the body. Sugar is an inflammation which leads to so many issues. I
oh
could go on for
gosh.
days.
Well, it's that's really interesting, and I'm going to make a note of that because we can talk about that another time. Because that's something that my mum's got high levels of inflammation in her
Mm,
body. Now, that is, again, there's lots of different ways that that can be triggered, but that leads on to a lot of autoimmune diseases, you know,
yeah,
having high levels of inflammation in your body. But one of the bigger causes of that is stress.
yeah, absolutely. Which is
But my mum does have a sweet tooth as well,
mm,
so.
that might be hand in hand because
Mm,
a high level of sugar can lead to a high level of stress because your body is trying to cope with that high level of sugar. And even if it's not mental stress, that physical stress is definitely going to be there because your body is trying to deal with the insulin levels and then it's trying to process the sugar through your body. The likes of, your liver and what have you are trying to process this high level of sugar. And a high level of anything, to be quite honest with
mm.
you, is going to be a stress on the body.
And the other thing, when you were just talking there, right at the start about when we first taste things that are sweet, like our mother's milk and things, there is a lot of, you know, psychological things behind us
Hmm.
craving
Yep.
sweet treats.
Hmm.
Again, mind, mood, and food. Because one of the things that you get really early on is you get conditioned and programmed to feel that sweet things are a reward.
Yep.
So I don't know what your
Absolutely.
thoughts on that are, but you know, my dad used to come home every Friday with our Friday toffee, you know, and if you've been a good girl, you get your Friday
Yep.
sweets.
Hmm.
And we can't help that. We're not bad people because we
No.
treat our kids to a few like, you know, I used to have like pocket money, and I remember having this, I still remember this little red purse, and it had a little section in it, but I would buy cola bottles. You bought them individually at school
Yeah.
from the tuck shop. And you've been in school all morning. It's like, oh God, I can't wait till break. And then you go and queue up, and I'd get 20 cola bottles and put them in this really, really unhygienic near my money. But I'd put them in this little separate bit. And I'd eat them through the rest of the day, like one at a time, like
Yeah.
just, and you
Yeah.
just like that little, like,
Yeah.
to get a
Absolutely.
bar of chocolate, to get a sweet, you know, you've been a good girl, you've done your work, you've
Yeah.
earned pocket money, whatever it might be. And if you've not been good, you don't get the sweet thing.
Hmm. Well, and I'm sure this happens still a lot these days. When you were younger, you were told to finish the food on your plate.
Mm,
And what's the one thing you get when you finish the food on your plate?
you get pudding. Dessert, wherever you're from in the country, I
Yeah,
don't know what people
yeah.
call, what do you call that? Your afters. What do you call it?
Me, pudding, where I
Pudding,
come from.
pudding,
Yeah,
pudding.
the
Yeah,
Geordie
pudding.
twang coming out there. But yeah, that's and as well, you're absolutely right. When we're youngsters, crikey, we get into the habit of rewarding children with sweet stuff, or even I've come across quite a lot of the time with different clients that they used to just be given chocolate and sweets just to keep quiet.
Mm.
So it does get into your psyche that sweet stuff is that reward.
And that is a biggie for people with
Hmm.
emotional eating, isn't it? Because
Yeah, huge.
if you're feeling down and your mood has dropped,
Hmm.
you reach for something sweet to lift your mood, but then you're going to feel bad. You got the guilt then and the shame and things like that, which,
And
you
it
know,
goes round again.
it's a real vicious cycle.
Hmm.
So, you know, that if there are other ways that you can find a way of rewarding yourself,
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
you know, taking a nice hot bath, or,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
treating
Even,
yourself to something like a little um a piece of makeup for your makeup kit or
yeah.
something like that, just finding something that's not food related to say,
Mhm.
oh, I'm going to reward myself. It's just so instant, the food, isn't it?
It is. It's that
it's
instant
it's that instant
gratification.
hit, so you've got to plan treats and rewards a bit more carefully if you're somebody that attaches
Mhm.
a feel good
And
factor.
take the time of the reason why you want to have that sweet. Why do you want to have that reward? What's going on with you at the time? Have a look into that. Really start delving deep. Okay, I feel like a reward. Why? What's the reason
And
behind
it's
it?
so quickly gone, you know,
Mhm.
like sometimes you're just like, oh, I want it, I want it, I want it. But if you think, but in like 4 minutes it'll be gone, and then
Yeah.
I know that I'm going to have those feelings.
Mhm.
So can I do something else? Can I just take myself for a walk? Or even, I know sometimes people talk about cleaning the teeth, don't they? Because you're not going to want to,
Yeah.
once you've like brushed your teeth, you don't want something
The
sweet then. But
worst. Oh, I can't stand anything once I've brushed my teeth.
yeah, so that there might be little things like that you can do, or having a drink where we've just talked about,
Mhm.
like sweetening your water, or having something like a skinny latte or something like
Yeah,
that, where if you
absolutely.
can do something, or a cup of tea, you know, I sometimes reward myself with a cup of tea instead of food, you know,
Mhm.
in that afternoon
Yeah, because
phase.
it's
If
warm,
you've
it's
been, you know,
comforting
yeah,
in a
if I've
way.
been
Yeah.
drinking water all day, it's
Mm.
like, do you know what, I'm gonna have a brew, and that's your reward. It's just getting out of that habit of a brew and a biscuit, because I
Mm.
went through a phase through lockdown
Mm.
because we were both working at home, and we once you get into that habit, I would brew up at like 3 o'clock and we'd have a chocolate biscuit with our cup of tea. It's only one, you know,
Yeah.
it's fine. Then it's two. But it becomes a habit.
Mhm.
Now your body just knows that it's going to get that sugar hit at 3 o'clock every day. So to stop that was difficult. But after a while, we got used to it and it's fine.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't easy, you know, because I
No,
was waiting
it,
for
it,
it.
it can be a bit difficult. And it's it's taken away taken away that association. And if you can start new habits, maybe not go for that brew at that certain time of the
Mm,
day, maybe do something else instead, because that's once your mind starts associating, aha, brew time means bicky time.
yeah. Which some people have at night as well, don't they?
Yeah.
I've heard people
Mhm.
say they can't sit and watch TV without
Mhm.
chocolates and that sugar hit.
Yeah.
I know, again, that's another conversation, but like times of day that you eat, you know,
Yeah.
there's a lot that to be said around when
Mhm.
there's a bit of a myth. Is it a myth or is it not a myth about eating late? Write that down as well, Margaret.
So, crikey, we digress again.
Well, I knew
But I
this
think,
would happen, but
yeah,
I just think it's so interesting, isn't it?
it
And
is
obviously
definitely.
it's a big topic, like you said, so it probably needs another
Oh
go
God,
at it,
yeah.
like some of the topics we've covered. But if people have got questions, you know,
Mhm.
about sugar, because people might have their own challenges with it, or their own
Yeah,
questions as to different types of food and what contains more sugar than other things, then people can kind of comment and write in. It'd be really
absolutely,
good. We can address that next time.
absolutely. And probably what I would say, I'll give you a few brief heads up of what you think might not actually contain sugar.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry to say, bread does have sugar in it.
Yeah.
Bread definitely does. And I know we've covered bread right at the start of our podcast, but it
Yeah,
definitely
we did,
does.
but I don't think we
Mhm,
talked a lot about sugar. That's
mhm,
the why I asked, because
mhm.
if you think you're just having like a cheese sandwich or something, a
Yeah,
salad,
you don't
ham
automatically think
salad
that it's got
sandwich,
sugar in, but yeah, it
yeah,
does.
that
It
is
does.
going to contribute to that afternoon slump that then you're
Mhm,
going to be needing something to lift you up again.
mhm. And funnily enough, a lot of savory snacks do have sugar in as well.
Mm,
You might think that you're having something savory, but just start looking at those ingredients. And to be quite honest with you, if sugar isn't in the top 1 to 5 ingredients, you can be guaranteed it's quite high in sugar.
if it's not in the top 5,
If it is
if
in
it
one,
is, yeah.
yeah. Mhm,
And I mean, there's also like fruit, that's a whole
mhm,
minefield in itself, because you would think just if it's fruit, then it's healthy. But
mhm.
if you do eat a lot of fruit,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
obviously that's better than eating a cake, but it's still something
It's
to
still,
be
yeah.
considered because it's natural sugars.
Mhm.
So if you're going to like take to work, 2 or 3 apples and an orange and some, banana, the banana, it's all going to like turn to sugar, isn't it, in your
It
body?
is.
So you've got to be careful that you don't consume too many pieces of fruit, even, really, or choose different
Absolutely.
different fruits that maybe are not as high in sugars
Mhm.
as other ones. Like what fruits do you recommend? Any particular?
Um, Honestly, keep it as much as you can seasonal.
Mm,
Um, because fruit is in abundance in supermarkets these days. But the best thing to do with the likes of fruit is keep it seasonal. So I think we're coming into March-ish, April-ish when this
yeah,
goes out.
coming into April, yeah.
So you're probably looking at the very, very start of some of the berries coming in, but we've probably still got the likes of apples still around
Mm,
for one. So if they're still, if they're still British, them, and pears as well, if they're still British, those as well. Um, if you're having a banana, probably if you're worried about the sugar level in those, keep it in green or near green. Once it goes,
yeah, they do go. I hate them when they've gone like really. I'm
yeah,
not a massive banana fan anyway, to be honest. I
mm,
used to take them to work just because they were easy to kind of carry, but
yeah,
I don't have them in now
mhm,
in at home. But they are a good energy booster for people, aren't
they
they?
are
So I do
definitely,
know, people put them in the gym bags and things like that, and also in
and
the
leave
good.
them in there for weeks.
Yeah, they go all bruised and disgusting. Oh, when my banana used to come out of my bag at work, sometimes I'd be like, I am not eating that. It's disgusting. So yeah, that's really good. I do tend to eat strawberries all year round. I must admit, I like my strawberries, so need to have a look at changing that up for a bit more seasonal. They're a summer fruit for when Wimbledon's on.
Yeah, absolutely. The more seasonal you can keep it, the better, because the likes of berries were specifically there to kind of build ourselves up for the winter months ahead.
Mm, yeah, gathering in the berries.
Exactly.
So thank you so much. We better leave it there, else we've kept people too long. So that has been so interesting as always, and very enlightening. So thank you very much, Margaret. If people have enjoyed this podcast, then as always, hit the like, hit the subscribe, tell your friends about it, and then you'll
Absolutely.
get notified when the next one goes out in a couple of weeks' time. And if you've got comments or questions, we would love to hear from you.
Thank you, and we'll see you very soon.
Thank you. Bye for
Bye.
now.